Howdy, and welcome to Wednesday's edition of Today's Bread. Now, we're continuing the series on prayers and exhortations in the Psalms with this week's discussion on praying for deliverance. Now, today's portion is committing to God's will. Scripture reference is Psalm 40, verses 5 through 8. Now, David testified to the wonders of God's works and was thankful for all that he saw. The wonders that he referred to were learned from both observation and personal experience. David concluded that the wonders of the Lord were too many to recount and too numerous to declare in verse 5. He stood in awe of the ability of God to bless those who sought to be faithful to his ways. He was convinced that no one who truly loved the Lord would fail to be convinced of his faithfulness. The psalmist's comprehension of God's ways gave evidence to the genuineness of his relationship with God. David demonstrated a profound understanding of what God looks for from his children. David declared in verse 6, "Sacrifice and offering you do not desire. My ears have you opened. Burnt offering and sin offering you have not required." Now, by this statement, David was not making light of the sacrifices made in the temple. No. He did, however, recognize that obedience and the condition of the heart were far more important to the Lord. Rather than depend on sacrifices and offerings, David dedicated himself to do God's will in verse 8. He affirmed the law was in his heart and that it motivated his obedience. David understood what God wanted much better than some Christians even today. He knew that the Lord would never be appeased by sacrificial acts offered without true devotion. And the evidence of this devotion? Obedience and brokenness. Now, are we attempting to appease God with meaningless offerings, sacrifices of our own? Instead, may we pursue his will with true devotion. Thank you, and I pray that you've enjoyed today's edition of Fresh Daily Bread. Now, I pray that these videos, in fact, all of our posts, are a real blessing in your life. Wednesday's prayer focus is declaring protection over America's families and children. Pray for God's covering over the hearts, minds, and future of the next generation. Now, remember, Jesus is coming back soon. Now, here's Wednesday's blessing. Today's portion of the priestly blessing that I love to give is, may the Lord be gracious to you.